Welcome to the Zoom training, Monday, July 6th. So to review what the 7 key steps are of the 7K7 nutrition steps. That was a mouthful for me. I got confused. Number 1, meal timing. So the thing that we've addressed when we did a custom program is eat within 30 minutes that you wake up and within every 3 to 4 hours until you fall asleep. If we identify that we're not as active, going to a 4-hour window makes sense. If we do have an active day, fueling our muscles within every 3 hours increases the metabolism to the highest point. No, this does not take effect when we're doing intermittent fasting. And I'll openly state it here. I do not recommend intermittent fasting for the majority of individuals. And when done so, to a small amount. The custom program is technically via description an intermittent. Wow, I'm doing good today. Intermittent fasting day. Although we're not going to the 12 to 16 hour gap as was in the last 2 days of the 14-day custom plan. So meal timing, step number 1, key step number 1, eat within 30 minutes. Unless your medication states otherwise, eat within 30 minutes of waking up. Having a drink is a meal. Anytime you're adding nutrients to your body, if I were to hook up an IV, that's a meal. Within 30 minutes and within every 3 hours until you fall asleep. Number 2, portion control. This is where the .fit portal and any of the major transformation nutrition programs come in, stating this is my max amount of calories for the day. And all I do, if my max calories for the day is 2,000 calories that's recommended by the Board of Dietetics, or a registered dietitian, what I do is I do my 2,000 and I divide it by however many meals I'm going to have for the day. 3 meals, 4 meals, 5 meals, 6 meals. Divide that up, and that's a per meal window right there. So number 1, meal timing. Number 2, portion control. Number 3 is the macronutrients. So if once again my recommended calories are going to be 2,000, if I have all protein, all fat, all carbohydrates, I don't have an ideal mix of proper energy, so glycemic, my sugar levels could go off, and my hunger hormones could 100% kick in. So when it comes to physical transformation, an ideal carbohydrate, protein, fat blend makes sense. The one that we see the most effective during a transformation is about 40% carbohydrates, 30% protein, 30% fats. If you go up or down 5 points on either one, it would be okay. If we're high performance, if we're doing a sport activity, if we're doing a 5K, a half marathon, a full marathon, then we definitely want to increase the carbohydrate ratio to that. If we're feeling hungry, increase the fat content. So wherever you're averaging on fat, if you're feeling hungry, increase that. If you're like Sarah or your body's sore from the workouts, increase your protein and the branched chain amino acids, and you'll see your hunger stabilize and your body recoup and recover quickly. So number 1, meal timing. 2, portion controls. 3, macronutrients. 4, removing the toxins. So thinking back to the science, if I have, I'm gonna use my hippie salt crystal. If I have this representing as a toxin into my body, fat cells are going to wrap around it to keep it from going into the vital organ. If I don't have a toxin in my body, the fat cells no longer need to be there and they oxidize as energy. If I have toxins in my body, the fat cells stay there to keep it going to the vital organ. In short, stopping the ingestion of toxins, and that's also emotional toxins. Welcome to 2020. I'll say that multiple times because we're having stay off your doggone phones, stay off social media, and the emotional toxins are going to go away. But toxins are psychological and physiological. Once we remove those, the fat cells no longer have that job to do, so they're going to shift to another job, which is energy. 1, meal timing. 2, portion control. 3, macronutrients. That's your carbohydrates, proteins, fats. 4, removing of toxins. 5, water. We get to hydrate our cells. We get to flush the toxins out. We get to transport nutrients into cells. So water's key, water's essential. When we're starting a transformation program, distilled water is key when it comes to detoxifying the cells. Post that, an alkaline water or spring water is essential. Purified water still has many chemicals and toxins in it. That's why it's typically not recommended in a transformation program. So transformation program, we're looking at distilled water first, shifting to spring or the high alkaline pH, higher pH water. How much water? Get to do the math. If you're watching this in the recording, you can pause it and do the math. Anywhere from half an ounce to 1 ounce is what clinical studies show per pound of body weight. So if I weigh 200 pounds, that's going to be anywhere from 100 to 200 ounces per day. A gallon is 128. That's a simple one. So if you're between 128 pounds and 220, 230 pounds, a gallon of water completely makes sense, or more if you do the math. 1, meal timing. 2, portion control. 3, macronutrients. 4, remove the toxins. 5, water. 6, eating natural. So those of us that did the custom gut-centric meal plan, that's all natural food. So what we notice is it's lower in the calories, all by default. It's higher in nutrients, vitamins, minerals. You're hitting all of the points. It's higher in fiber, so you're stabilizing blood sugar and hunger hormones. So eating natural. Natural is vegetables, fruits, meats, nuts, if you're not allergic to them, honey, eggs, seasoning. Esteban, can I use this seasoning? For the most part, all seasonings are good. Ketchup has added sugars. Mayonnaise, not really a natural substance. So if you want to add tomatoes, if there's no adverse reaction to that type of fruit, absolutely all day, every day. 1, meal time. I'm repeating all of these. Meal timing. 2, portion control. 3, macronutrients. 4, removing the toxins. 5, water. 6, eating natural. And the last one is proper supplementation. So when you hear my coaching with proper supplementation, it's supplementing the nutrients, vitamins, minerals that my body's not getting, number 1, from food choices, number 2, from farming practices. In 2002, Journal of American Medical Association published all humans on this planet are to supplement at least 1 multivitamin a day simply from farming practices alone, not even including my food choices. So supplementation in a transformation program, I'm going to go weight loss first, and then we'll go muscle gain. Weight loss is a multivitamin as a base. 2, a meal replacement. When I get my McFlurry, I have no clue how many calories it is, or if I have an adverse reaction. For me, it was Graders this weekend. Or in my case, I also had a burger. I had a pre-made burger. I didn't make a burger. I purchased it pre-packaged in Kroger, and I knew it had bacon in it. I knew it had cheese in it, and I have no clue what else it had in it, but I didn't even need a bun, and I was pregnant. I'm like, are you kidding me? What the heck else did they put in it? So with a meal replacement, I know what's in it. I'm going to make a wiser choice. Late at night, instead of having my big bowl of cereal or ice cream or bag of chips, I'm going to either avoid it or consume less of it because of a meal replacement. So number 1, supplement, multivitamin. 2, meal replacement. 3 would be a supplement based on what's lacking in my nutrients to get me closer to a goal. For weight loss, I typically see the liver detox completely makes sense. It gets us there quicker. For muscle gain, additional branched chain amino acids and sometimes creatine monohydrate would be supportive for that. So reviewing the seven key nutrition points, hence the K7 plan. Number 1, meal timing. 2, portion control. 3, the macronutrients, carbs, proteins, fats. Ideally, around 40% carbohydrates, 30% protein, 30% fat. Could you slide up and down around 5 points? 100% absolutely yes. 4, removing toxins from your foods. 5, half an ounce to 1 ounce of water, distilled water in the beginning of a transformation, shifting to the high pH or spring water. 6, eating natural foods, something that God put into the earth, plants, vegetable, fruit, and meats. What meat? If it had eyeballs and you like the taste of it, high five, go for it. Every culture is a little bit different on what they like to eat, what animal they like to eat and don't like to eat. And 7, supplementing the nutrients that we're lacking from our body to be at optimal performance and vitality level. I'm going to go about 3 minutes on any questions with those 7 key points, and then we're going to transition into the homework for this week, which I like. All right. 1 to 3 minutes of questions. Hello, Grumans. If you guys are wondering, my man crush, he's right there. He's right there in real life today. Oh, and I'm waiting to see which glasses you pick out.
Grr, baby.
Yeah. Hannah, if your husband were around, I'd have a man crush on him also.
He popped his head in for a second whenever he came and got his dinner, but I'm assuming that nobody was really paying attention.
Putting it out there, and now I have it recorded. My wife will see it. She'll be like, how many guys do you have a man crush on? If they're cute, I got a man crush on them.
Olivia has one question.
Okay, what is that?
Okay, so she said, when we did our Dot Fit program, it told her to burn 1750 calories and intake 2250. But in her food log, it's telling her that her daily goal is 1800 calories. And she wants to know which one to follow. I told her to follow the one that's less.
Is she wanting to gain weight or lose weight?
She's wanting to lose weight.
Okay, so she has to have a gap. So she's got to burn more than what she's consuming. If the math is accurate, and it's never accurate, 500 calorie deficit per day. So that's step number 2, portion control on calories. 500 calorie deficit per day equals 1 pound of fat per week, roughly. But the truth is, we're never accurate. We just know that we're within the ballpark. So tell her to create a minimum of a 500 calorie deficit.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so here's a few big rocks of survival in being a human. And actually, Alex or Daryl, if you guys want to jump on this one, because you've both been coaches and teachers of this type of being a human. Number 1, we like to avoid pain. 2, we like to look good. 3, we like being right. So many of our decisions are based within those principles there. So understanding I want to avoid pain, I want to look good, and I want to be right is subconscious programming where our mindset is on a day-to-day basis, and in transformation can link into those pillars. So we get to shift that programming based on that survival mechanism of those 3 pillars. So the next phase I want to go into is neural patterns. A neural pattern is something that we do over and over and over and over. So when I work with athletes, and I was a cage fighter, so I would do a move over and over literally thousands of times to where it becomes instinctive. And we do that. Even if I consciously know this action is not supportive to where I want to be or where I want to go, whenever stress or cloudedness happens, I go into the neural pathway that's familiar, that's been over and over and over. The instance I like to describe is you're used to driving your kids to school or to work, and you're constantly making that same drive over and over and over. And one day you're driving and you want to go elsewhere, but you're distracted from a song, conversation, whatever the case may be, and you're like, oh, I'm going the wrong way. We're driving the way that we were used to over and over and over again. So the same thing happens when we make our movement choices and our food choices. I stress out and I always do this. Why? Because I've always done that. Although I know that's not a supportive way of doing it, I have no clue why I do that or why I fall into that. It's a neural pathway that's paved. It's like 8 lanes wide. There's no traffic, and it's an easier way for us to go. So here's the homework, and I'm going to put this in the email for us to step and follow. Mackenzie's joining us. Hola, Mackenzie.
Hola, hola.
So number 1, you guys get to state this on the Facebook page. So what do you want? So be very specific and extremely clear on what your goal is. If we're not clear on where we want to go, that's exactly where we go. The analogy I use with this all the time, if I hop in on a cab, in a taxi, I've got the Grummans, they pick me up, I hop into their really cool SUV there. Yeah, it's not a minivan. I was going to go there. That's awesome. So I hop into their SUV, and they're like, where do you want to go? And I'm like, oh. they're going to drive in circles until I'm committed onto take me here. So until we're clear, extremely clear on where we want to go, your body's going to respond with what you're telling it to. And if you're telling it confusion, that's exactly what it's going to create. So number one, declare what you want. Be extremely specific to what that is that you're creating. If you're vague, that's going to be the response. And Mackenzie, you can laugh on this one too, but it's real. What do you want and by when? What by when? It's real. So what do you want to create? By when do you want to create it? And my smart aleckness, when I sit down with somebody that I want to drop 20 pounds or finally get to that, by when? I don't know. It's not important. Cool. How about 20 years from now? We'll drop 1 pound every year. No. Then we start getting clarity on, okay, we know what we don't want. Now let's start focusing on what we do want and by when do we want to achieve it. 2, commit to your goal. Like commit. So I'm going to write, put this on the emails. Acknowledge that you're the source and we'll do whatever it takes to achieve it. By acknowledging that you're the source and I'm the source to achieve my goal, I no longer get to wear, I'm looking for a hat. I no longer get to wear my victim hat, saying I'm a victim to my circumstance, my genetics, my finances, my culture, community. You're stating that you're in complete control and you are the source of creating your goal. When we plateau, change the approach. So when I hit a roadblock, change it. So here, everybody on mute. You get to play this one with me. Thank you, Alex. Cool for one person to unmute. Everybody unmute. If you're watching this, unmute. So the answer, I'm going to help you guys out, is change it. If you're moving forward and your approach isn't working for you to transform, what do?
Change it.
Okay, cool. Hold on. But what if you change it and you still don't see the results that you want? What do you do then?
Change it again.
And what if you still don't see the results?
Yes.
Change it again.
Okay, cool. See, thanks for playing. That's awesome. So what I hear a lot of times is, Esteban, and I'm going to use weight loss. I know I got Reg in here. That's like, boom, give me some massive guns. I've tried everything. When my approach is I've tried everything, many times I'm no longer willing to try that next thing that's actually going to get me over the hump. Because I can try everything to get to the Grummins down in Texas. I'm in Ohio. If I go north, I'm probably not going to get to Texas. So it's identifying what approach works. And if you haven't noticed, I have the roadmap for transformation. All you got to do is follow the roadmap. I've only done this once or twice or 500,000 times by now, but who's counting? I like that part. Got it. So that's committing to your goal. Acknowledge that you're a source. Change your approach when you plateau. And if you hit another plateau, change it again. 3, interrupting old patterns. So that's that neural pathway. I'm used to driving a certain way, used to driving a certain way, used to driving a certain way. When we identify that, holy cow, this isn't supportive to get me to where I want to go, interrupt it. So my ABCs on this one is create an empowering alternative, a habit shift. 2, change your words. That's what we talked about last week. When you identify that the words that are coming out are not supportive to living that way, being a specific way, change your words. You can change your thoughts, change your beliefs, change your actions. So what's cool is there's psychology and physiology. I learned this one a while back. It was probably 20 years ago. I know I was only 5 years old at the time. So one of the things that I realized, if I'm in a crappy ass mood, this is typically my face. So internally, my psychology is in a crappy mood. That's a real term. Here's my physiology. That grumpy old man, grumpy old lady. So one of the courses that I took in school, the professor had us do this. My physiology is changing It was so cool. Spit just went towards the camera right there. My physiology is changing, therefore it changes the psychology. And what happens is, as you guys see each other smile, it changes your psychology. So you can start on the psychological side or the physiological side, change it. Once we identify it, shift. Make a habit shift. You get to pick whichever one you want to do. If you're in a karate mood, do this next time. And you can visualize this Zoom call right now. I'm going to do that tomorrow. Be like, how you doing? I'm not going to say what just went in my mind. Shh. Change the habit when you notice an unsupportive habit. So an example with food that I'm going to put on the email is my ritual at night is I have something sweet after dinner. And especially during the summertime. So I live in Polaris, northern part of Columbus. There's a Grater's ice cream, like a slingshot from me and a Krispy Kreme. So we have dinner and we go for a walk. So I'm burning the calories and we have Grater's ice cream. I'm like, dang it. I'm not going to tighten this thing up if I keep having Grater's ice cream. I'm aware of that. So what I get to do is I'll do a lean meal replacement. And I could add whatever fruit to it, add the ice to it. I could even have frozen milk or frozen almond milk, and I create my own ice cream or smoothie from that. That would be a supportive habit shift. So I'm used to having a dessert. If I take away the dessert, that's the gap. My neural pathway will always go to what I did before, so I get to shift it. Instead of driving and pulling a left here, I'm going to drive and pull a right here, and I create the lean meal replacement. Sweet wiser dessert. That was 3 interruptible patterns. 4, reinforce and reward the pattern until it becomes a habit. We tend to do this with unsupportive ways. I suck. That was dumb. So we're rewarding that in a negative way and we fall into a loop. So we get to reward that the pattern is going to be supportive to what we've committed to creating. Here's what that's going to look like in homework. For those of you guys that like to write stuff down, go ahead and write it down. Alex is going to put it on her phone. Good for you. This is the new notepad for today. On the private Facebook page, if you're on both Facebook pages, do it on both. If you're on one of the Facebook pages, do it on one. One's the K7, the other one's Empower with an I. State your goal for the week. Like, state your goal. So this week, I commit to creating whatever it is. If you want to do an inch loss, a weight loss, hitting a certain step goal, going to the gym and doing any of the classes, whatever it is that you're committing to, commit what you really want. And I say that because I'll have somebody that sits down with me and they're like, I really want to drop 30 pounds, but I'm scared to voice it. So I'm committed to walking into the gym every day. Cool. Is your goal to go into the gym or is your goal to drop 30 pounds? Like, be real with yourself and commit to what it is that you want, and don't be scared to voice what you're committed to creating. So state your goal for the week. State, not like Ohio, but state, declaring that you're 100% in control and committed to creating it. 3, share a new supportive fitness ritual for today. So 3 is, even if you've done it for a while. So let's say you went from walking 3,000 steps a day and now you're doing 5,000, state that. So what I'm doing is I am creating, or I'm achieving 5,000 steps a day. Awesome. Whatever fitness routine. I got a TRX and I'm doing this thing for my arms every day. Sarah, I'm going up and down 3 times at Alum Creek steps because my calves don't feel it at all. Yeah, they do. So 3, share a new supportive fitness ritual for today. 4, share a new supportive nutrition for today. Hannah, in your case, like those pictures that you're posting, those are awesome. Who else? Alex, you guys have been posting some really cool pictures too. So that's part of a ritual. So you're like, oh, my ritual is I get to post a picture of something supportive nutrition-wise. I was drinking 1 cup of water a day. Now I'm drinking 3 cups. So I get to post that. Today I'm drinking 3 glasses of water. Awesome. Whatever it is that's going to be supportive to get you to the goal. 4, that was 4. 5, Ask for support from your team. Be real specific. It's going to be different for each one of us, 100% different for each one of us. So here's how I'd like you to support me. Alex and Hunk, if you guys could, I'm going to call on you here in a second on giving an explanation of what that would look like. If you're going to ask the team for support on a transformation, whether it's fitness or nutrition. Not yet, but I'll come back to you on that. That was number 5. Number 6, tag 2 to 3 individuals that are part of your support team. If you don't have a support team, a close-knit support team, guess what? You're about to make it up when you tag 2 to 3 people. Another thing with this, if everybody decides to really grow and celebrate their support, their habits, their rituals with this, there's going to be a lot of people on the Facebook feed. So by tagging 2 or 3, at least 2 or 3 people would actually have seen it. 7, post a picture. So ideally, you smiling. What I've seen a lot in transformations is self-beat up and body dysmorphia. So when I look in the mirror, when I look at my face, there's all of this negative dialogue going on unless I have some sort of filter. Bullshit to the filter. Your face is beautiful. Post it. Write the posts on there. And here's what we get to do to support genuinely. Hit the like. Because we know we love the like. We know we love the comments. Ooh, who liked it? Who commented on it? So what we're doing is, as a team, collectively, we're supporting each other on positive rituals that are going to get us to our goals. What we've done in the past is we've celebrated with negative reinforcement. This 7 days, these next 7 days till Monday, my request is that we do this. So state your goal by when, which is 1 week, 1 fitness action, 1 nutrition action. Be specific on how you want support. Post it with your mug. So Alex and Daryl, if you're in this transformation for the next 7 weeks, what would be an example of how you'd like to request for support?
And so we're requesting support from our 3 people that we're tagging, right?
Either the 3 people or just anybody in general that's going to look at your post.
Got it. Yeah, so it would be something to the effect of, hey, if you didn't see me post, like my goal is to post every day or twice a day. And if you do not see me post, my request is that you guys reach out to me and hold me to what I wanted, hold me accountable to what I said I was going to do.
Beautiful. Like we didn't even set this up before the call. Appreciate it. You're on it, man.
All in the back of the head.
Hey, that's good. You've only done that for a few years every day. and that's what it is. It becomes, when it becomes created with the neural pathways, it's part of who we are. It's part of our DNA. So we get to create literally whatever we want once we know how to create that pathway. And it's never alone. It really is not alone. We get to lean in and ask for support because on our own, we're not strong enough. I've come to realize that in nearly 30 years of being in this industry. It comes from a support team like what we've got now. So state your goal. State you're 100% in control and committed to creating the goal within the next 7 days. We're just doing 1 bite at a time. How do you eat an elephant? 1 bite at a time. 3, share a supportive fitness ritual for the day. Share a supportive nutrition ritual for the day. You get to be creative and figure it out. 5, ask for specific support. And it could be the same thing day after day after day, but we get to learn to lean in and ask for support because there's days that we're going to fall on our face. It's one thing to make a choice and commitment that I was going to eat 17 hot dogs this weekend, and it's another to fall on my face and fall into an old neural pattern that I eat 17 hot dogs when I don't feel good. You get to figure it out if I did that or not. 6, tag 2 to 3 people. That'll be your accountability buddies. And 7, post a beautiful mug. All right, Q&A time. In memory of Olivia, who's asking. Alex, you got
Can
a question? Like yes,
Somebody-
so
Oh, hey, real quick, can I add something really quick to the request for support? So what I've found as far as requesting support is it's also a lot of us have vulnerabilities that we try to hide and that we try to hide behind. And so when you publicly or vocally ask for support, you are at the same time climbing a mountain of vulnerability and authenticity and openness, and it's infectious. And so when you do that and you're asking for that support, other people are going to feel more comfortable asking for support as well.
awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Hannah, you have a question for Olivia?
I'm trying to channel my inner Olivia, but I don't want to channel her today because it's her birthday and she's probably being extremely bad.
She's doing what she wants to do on her birthday, and if it's a choice, it's a choice. Okay, so we'll be on here for another 3 to 5 minutes. Any questions that are coming up based on barriers that we're hitting, patterns that we're hitting? Clean slate, open forum.
I have one about the supplements.
Go ahead, Reggie.
Because technically, if like we were talking about the stuff from the earth, like the vegetables and fruits and even the animals, like those sources might be natural, but just the supplement itself, like that's technically not natural, right? Because it's like made in the lab and all that. So like if you want to stay completely natural, how are you gonna
So what I'm hearing you say is the supplementing makes sense because it's not an actual carrot. Is that what I'm hearing you say?
basically, yeah, it's not completely natural. It's like created in a lab and all that.
So the way many supplements are is they're extracted from actual food and mineral sources. Where 2002 Journal of American Medical Association suggested that we supplement with at least a multivitamin, it's because the natural sources aren't as natural as they were 70, 80, 100 years ago. For instance, the soil that we use for farming doesn't have the same mineral content that it did a few decades ago based on the farming practices that we have. So even when I choose to eat natural foods, it doesn't have the same level of nutrients that I would have received from, unless I control the soil. If I control the soil, completely different story. And what they found was less than 1% of the human population actually controls their soil and makes wise food decisions to where they're consuming and absorbing optimal nutrient level. So because our farming practices and our food choices aren't at the highest level, that's where supplementation kicks in, such as an omega-3. Omega-3 comes from actual animal sources. You can get plant sources also. And that's in the case that I'm not consuming at least one fish per week. So it's to supplement what's lacking for my body to perform at the optimum level. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, well, I mean, aminos are obviously, really vital and stuff. And you can take as many as you want from what I've heard and stuff. But the problem is most of those amino supplements, they have sugar in there, and I don't want any sugar at all. So it's like, even lots of the
so it's
protein shakes have
identifying
sugar.
a clean source. That's an excellent point. Identifying a clean source, and how much does my body need? Based on the goal that you want to achieve. So certain times in the muscle gain, I want to gain a certain amount of muscle and not increase my body fat. So supplementation definitely kicks in to that point. And your goal will change. I'll tell you, getting closer to 50, my objective is different now than it was when I was in my mid-20s, cosmetically, performance-wise, and pain threshold-wise. So it'll change. So anything specific supplementation-wise that's not generic to the Zoom call, by all means, feel free to reach out to me privately, and we'll guide you through that.
Okay.
Good question. Good point. We got Reggie. Olivia's having a birthday. Who else? Who's next? Chad's having the couch conversation there. He's like, I'm thinking about something. On my screen, you guys are on like opposite ends of the screen. Look how big the kids are getting. And they're like talking next to each other, but they're like right there on the screen. All right, 1 more minute then.
When is the last week of the program, Miss Fun? It's Alex.
This one, I got to do it in my head. June 8th, July 8th, like August 8th-ish.
Okay.
And then Alex, with you, will be launching a 3-week program post that. That'll be separate to this group.
Like a boss.
Good question. What's next? Hannah's over there like a model. Any questions?
Shut up. No, I don't have any questions, I don't think. I'm the person that when I have the question, I ask it immediately. I don't hold on to them.
Not on the elliptical today? What are you thinking? Oh, that's right. You weren't at the gym today, were you?
I did 150 flights of stairs today on the Stairmaster.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Sarah and I are crying thinking about that, but good for you. This Saturday, Allen Creek, for anybody that lives within the Columbus area. All right. That being said, if you guys had a question, you're watching this recording, see what happens when you're on live, you can ask the question. Cool. Thank you, guys. Enjoy the sunshine. Sarah, I appreciate you going back outside. Grumans, thank you for coming on board from Texas.
Love you, dude.
I love you. Bye.
Whoa! She said she loves me. I saw that.
You.
See you guys.
Bye.